Hi guys, it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I am going to be sharing my autumn and winter reading plans. So, I have a lot of books that I would like to read for the next 6 months or so for the periods of autumn and winter. I did a video for my spring and summer reading plans and I really enjoyed that, and it gave me a lot of options when it came to picking my monthly TBRs and figuring out what I wanted to read. So these are books that I am planning to get to within the next 6 months or so, between now and the end of February next year, I guess. Whether I do or not is a totally different story because I didn't quite read everything off my spring and summer TBR. I'm very excited for all of these books, and yeah, we're just going to get straight into it because there are a lot of them. So, given that it is coming up to Halloween and everything spooky and atmospheric, I have got a lot of spooky books that I think are going to be perfect for this time of year. I've also got some thrillers, some sci-fi and fantasy, and then a bit of mix of everything else. We're going to start with the spooky stuff, obviously, because, like I said, it's coming up to Halloween in about a month's time, just over a month's time. This is my favourite time of the year. I absolutely love autumn and I love everything spooky. I love Halloween, I love ghost stories, I love the dark. I love it when it starts getting dark at like 5 o'clock at night, and it's just a really fun, atmospheric time of the year. And yeah, I've got some great books lined up. So, spooky books. First one is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. This is pretty much a given. I want to read more horror. This is the perfect time to be reading horror. I'm saving this for like Halloween time. Ooh, just hit myself in the face. But I'm saving this for around Halloween time, and I would like to do a reading vlog on it, I think, because I just think it'd be a lot of fun. I haven't seen the movie, but I've heard that it's very creepy. And yeah, I'm very excited for this one. It is gonna be perfect. Another spooky book that I would like to read very soon is The Night Film by Marisha Pessel. So I've been saving this book for this time of the year. I got it for my birthday. My boyfriend bought it for me because he thought it sounded really cool. And my boyfriend doesn't read, but if he thinks a book sounds cool, then it's probably going to be cool, But this is kind of like a murder mystery scenario with a horror twist. I've heard really good things about this. I have seen it on BookTube and on Instagram quite a lot in the past, but what I really like about this is that it's very kind of interactive. It's got these like case files in it and stuff like that, which I love it when books do that because it just makes the story feel a bit more real, and it makes you feel like you're involved in it and trying to figure out what's going on. And it's a very chunky book, but I'm really looking forward to this one. Next we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I am so behind on this book. There is so much hype surrounding this book, or there was so much hype surrounding this book. I remember when it came out and literally everyone was reading it and I felt like the only person that wasn't. But I've been reading the Shadow and Bone books, the Grisha trilogy, and Six of Crows. So I really started to get into Leigh Bardugo's writing. I think she's very talented. Really enjoyed those books. I know this is an adult fantasy. I think it's dark academia. It's very hit and miss with me when it comes to dark academia. I've tried a few books in that genre and they haven't really worked for me, but I have heard really good things about this one and I think I will enjoy it. It's set at Yale University and we're following a character called Galaxy Stern, which I absolutely love that name, Galaxy Stern. It just sounds so cool. But she goes by Alex, and she's the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. And yeah, there's some like weird stuff going on campus. And I assume there's a snake in it because there's a snake on the cover. I love snakes. Yeah, very intrigued to see what this one's all about. And then we've got Stephen King's Misery, which is one of my 5-star predictions for the last third of 2021, and I'm so excited for this because I feel like this is gonna be the one. You know, I've only read 2 Stephen King books so far. Both of them are 4 stars, but I'm waiting for that 5-star Stephen King. Feel like this one is gonna be it, you know. But this one is all about an author, I think, that gets held hostage by a crazy fan. And this fan is demanding that he finish the book, and that's all I really know about it. But I've heard incredible things about this one, and I feel like it's going to be right on my street. It's got that kind of like confinement feel about it because he's like trapped in his office or his house or something, being held hostage, you know. Just everything about this just sounds really, really good. Then I've got Bram Stoker's Horror Stories, which is part of a gothic fantasy collection. Creator of one of the most legendary horror novels of all time, Bram Stoker was an engaging storyteller of the menacing and ghoulish supernatural. Fusing thriller horror with intriguing writing, a selection of his short stories and novel extracts are included here. From the seminal vampire classic Dracula to the creeping thrills of the Judge's House, the murderous revenge of the Squaw, and the gothic chills of the Lady of the Shroud. So I picked this book up back in 2019 when I went to Whitby. I went to Whitby Abbey and I bought a load of like Dracula themed merch and stuff, and this book instantly stood out to me because this cover is just absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the most beautiful books that I own, and I wanted to read it last year but I never got round to it, so I really want to read it this year. It's just got everything that I love in it. You know, I love Dracula. It's one of the best books that I've ever read, one of the best spooky books, gothic horrors, you know, in the world, in my opinion. And I wasn't really aware that Bram Stoker had written other stuff at the time. Yeah, I'd really like to read some more of his other stuff. I'll probably skip all of the Dracula bits in here just because I've read that novel so many times already. And it is quite a chunky book, and just read the other bits and bobs. But it's great because, you know, it is extracts and short stories, so I can delve in and out of it whenever I please. Then we've got Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. This is a very recent book that I purchased in London, and I've been wanting to read it ever since I first heard of it. I've heard very mixed things about it. People either love it or they hate it, but I feel like I'm going to enjoy it. It's something a bit different to what I would normally read. I believe this is about a woman who is a werewolf and she has a son, and it's kind of like discussing her struggles with motherhood and being this monster. But it says here that Night Bitch is an outrageously original, joyful, subversive read that will make you want to howl in laughter and recognition, addictive enough to be devoured in one sitting. This is an unforgettable novel from a blazing new talent. So what more do I need to say? Then last of the spooky books that I have lined up, I mean, it's not the last because I have loads more that I would like to read, but on this priority list, Plain Ad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I have been wanting to read this book for such a long time, and I feel like now is the time to read. Firstly, again, beautiful cover. I love anything that's yellow. It's got a wasp on it. I hate wasps, so that's going to be very interesting. But this is a horror. It's set in 2 time periods, I think. And in one time period, it's set in this school, and there were these girls that were killed, I think. And there's this book that's been written about them, and then there's this actress who stars in this movie based off these girls and what happened, and she's in this school and she becomes a bit obsessed with the girls that died, and yeah, like, that's all I really know about it. But I've heard really good things about this. I've heard that it's very atmospheric, which is the number one thing I look for in spooky books. I've heard that it's very creepy, which is the second thing I look for in spooky books. And I'm really excited about the satirical element to it as well, and the mystery element. So there's a lot of things that I would really enjoy, and one of the things that I really like about this book the most is these gorgeous illustrations. I didn't realise it had these beautiful illustrations in it until I purchased this book. I also didn't realise how chunky it is. Like, it must be like nearly 1,000 pages or something. Okay, it's not, it's 617. So it's not even 1,000 pages, but it's massive. But it looks like it's filled with a lot of spooky goodness, and I can't wait. So those are all the spooky books on this list. Let's move on to some sci-fi and fantasy, because I've been getting into that a lot more this year and I've been really enjoying it. I would like to read Gamora and Nebula, Sisters in Arms by Mackenzie Lee. So this is another book that I picked up in London quite recently. And this is about Gamora and Nebula, who have been adopted by Thanos. And they have always grappled with who their father has pushed them to be versus who they want to be, all the while struggling to be sisters rather than enemies. When the pair end up on a deteriorating planet being mined for its valuable resources, a series of events force the sisters to confront the source of their rivalry and where their loyalty truly lies. I really enjoyed Loki, Where Mischief Lies, when that first came out a couple of years ago. I believe Mackenzie Lee is writing a third book, based on another Marvel anti-hero. I'm not sure who that's going to be, but either way, very excited to find out. Next, we have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. So this is another book that my boyfriend bought me for my birthday. He loves anything to do with Vikings and Norse mythology and stuff like that. I love anything to do with mythology, and I want to read more stuff about mythology and legends, and I'm very excited for this one because this is a book that has been around for ages. Loads of people have read it and love it, and I just feel like I'm missing out. There's stuff in here about Odin, about Thor, about Loki, about Freya, you know, all of these iconic Norse mythical gods, and just kind of like telling their story and stuff. And yeah, I'm very interested to see what it's gonna be like. I haven't read any of Neil Gaiman's books, but I am very familiar with his work, and I know that he's written a Doctor Who episode which I really loved, so you know, very excited for this one. And then speaking of Doctor Who, I have got 2 books in the Time Lord Victorious stuff. We have got The Night, the Fall and the Dead by Steve Cole, and then All Flesh is Grass by Una McCormack, and these books are part of a duology. I don't really know what they're about. I haven't really looked. The Doctor travels back to the dark times, an era where life flourishes and death is barely known. Then came the Katura, creatures who spread through the cosmos, dispense immortality. They judge each and every species and decree its allotted time to live. For the first time, living things know the fear of ending, and they will go to any lengths to escape this grim new spectre, death. The Doctor is an old hand at cheating death. Now at last he can stop it at source. He is coming for the Katura, ready to change everything so that life wins from the start, not just the last of the Time Lords, the Time Lord Victorious. That was a mouthful. I'm really struggling to talk. But I've had these books since last year and I've been meaning to get to them for a while. I say that with everything, and obviously I haven't, but Doctor Who Day is coming up on the 23rd of November, and I like to read everything Doctor Who and watch everything Doctor Who and look at everything Doctor Who on that day. So I will probably be saving these for then. Pretty short books, so I feel like I'm going to breeze through them. And we've got the 10th Doctor in this one, and then we've also got the 9th and the 8th Doctor in this one, and I love all of them, so yeah, I'm going to love it. I know I am. And then lastly, for fantasy, I would like to get to the next couple of books in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. So we've got A Clash of Kings, which at the time of filming, I am planning to read very soon. By the time this video goes up, I might have already read it. And then we've got Storm of Swords, Part 1 and Part 2. That I would like to get to. These ones I would like to get to by the end of the year. I've really been enjoying going through my Game of Thrones reread. I loved reading the first book, so I just can't wait to read the next ones again. So hopefully I can do those, but they are very chunky books, and they do take a lot of concentration, a lot of energy, so I need to dedicate some time to these. Probably book a couple of weeks off work to do that, but yeah, we'll see how we get on. But if I could get to at least this one, then I'll be happy. So let's move on now to some thrillers. I've not got many thrillers on this list, but I do love a good thriller, so I'll probably throw some more in the future. But we've got Blood Orange by Harriet Tice. I've had this book for forever. I bought it start of like lockdown 1 back in March 2020. This is another one that I've seen everywhere and I've heard very mixed things about it, but I think I'm going to enjoy it. Alison has it all, a loving family and a career on the rise. She's just been given her first murder case to defend, but all is never as it seems. So I assume she is a lawyer, and I've only read like 2 courtroom dramas before, and one I enjoyed and one I didn't like. So I don't know, but I'm very intrigued by this one. And it's quite a short book, so I think I can breeze through it pretty quickly on one of my days off. I don't know. Then we've got There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. So I feel like this one could have fit into the spooky category because it is giving me spooky vibes. There's just something about that cover that is very foreboding and reminds me of haunted houses and stuff. But this one is about Makani Young, who thought she'd left her dark past behind her in Hawaii, settling in with her grandmother in landlocked Nebraska. She's found new friends and has even started to fall for mysterious outsider Ollie Larson, but her past isn't far behind. Then one by one, the students of Osborne High begin to die in a series of gruesome murders, each with increasingly grotesque flair. As the terror grows close and her feelings for Ollie intensify, Makani is forced to confront her own dark secrets. I don't really have any thoughts on it right now, but it is a book that has been on my radar for quite a while, so I feel like this is another one that I will breeze through and will enjoy. Then I have The President is Missing by Bill Clinton and James Patterson. I've never read a James Patterson book in my life, and I never really knew where to start because he has so many books. But this one is very intriguing to me. And I bought this last year when I was going through a phase of being obsessed with the White House and American politics. And I think it was during the election, because I was very interested in that. And then I became very interested in the workings of the White House. I listened to Barack Obama's autobiography. And yeah, this is pretty much what it says. The president is missing. The president goes missing. The world is in shock. Terrorists are planning a devastating attack and they have help from traitors inside the White House. Sounds amazing. And then lastly, for my thrillers, I have got The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearce, and I'm very apprehensive about this one. I was very excited about it. I still am but I've heard very negative things about this. A lot of people on BookTube that I watch that have read this have not enjoyed this book, but I feel like I will. This is another one that could fit into the spooky category because it is set in the Swiss Alps, which is a great location for this kind of story, and we're following this detective. She's not at work, she's like gone off on holiday. I don't know, but she gets invited to this hotel by her brother, and the hotel used to be a sanatorium, and I suppose some creepy shit starts happening, and I love that idea, so I think I'm going to enjoy this one. It is one of my 5-star predictions. Very risky 5-star prediction, but you know, anything could happen. Life is full of surprises. Books are full of surprises. Okay, and then lastly, we've got some non-fiction. Crying in Hmart by Michelle Zorner. I do want to read this so badly because I've just heard incredible things about it. This is her memoir. She is an Asian American talking about what it's like to grow up mixed race, about her love for Korean food, about her Korean mother and their relationship, and her mother's death from cancer. And yeah, it's a very different kind of book. It's not something I would normally read, but I'm trying new things and I want to read about different perspectives to my own and see what life is like for other people and learn about different cultures. So I'm really looking forward to this one, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And then I've got some historical fiction, The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. So I tried reading this quite a few years ago actually. My auntie had a copy. And I just finished reading The Girl on the Train, and she was like, oh, you should read this book, you would really enjoy it as well. And I don't know how far I got into it, but I didn't get very far into it, and then I had to go back to Leicester, and I never finished the book. But I would like to give it another go. This is set in Afghanistan in 1975, and we're following a 12-year-old boy who is desperate to win the local kite fighting tournament. And his friend promises to help him, but then his friend is killed, I believe, after the Russians invade, and the family is forced to flee to America. Amir realises that one day he must return to Afghanistan under Taliban rule to find the one thing that his new world cannot grant him, which is redemption. And I feel like this book is obviously very relevant to stuff that is happening in the world right now. I mean, it's always going to be relevant. And I've heard incredible things about this book and Khaled Hosseini. I would like to read 1,000 Splendid Suns as well. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. And then lastly, we've got a bit of contemporary literary fiction. I think it's literary fiction, but it's Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is a book about time travel and these people who are in a cafe who get sent to a different point in time, but they only have until their coffee goes cold to experience that time. And I think they either go back in time to change something that's happened to them that they want to change, or to say something to someone that they didn't have the chance to say. I think there's a whole bunch of different scenarios in this, and very excited for it because I've heard incredible things about this one as well. I really want to read some more Japanese fiction because I think it is just some of the best fiction in the world. I think Japanese authors have such a fantastic eye for detail and for getting into the human psyche and making their characters so believable and real. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Alright guys, there we have it. That is my autumn and winter 2021/2022 reading plans. I can't believe I just said 2022. Like, it's nearly 3 months away, and that's just unbelievable how quick this year has gone. But I'm looking forward to eventually getting into all of these books. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know if I will. I'm pretty sure I will. I need to be held accountable, which is why I'm filming this video and uploading it. So please remind me to read these books, because I'm a bad person and I like to buy new books and read those books and abandon my original plans. So there we go. But I'm going to wrap this video up here. Sorry it was very rambly and probably didn't make a lot of sense, but it is what it is. I don't script my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know if you've read any of the books that I've talked about in today's video, what you thought of them. Please let me know what your autumn and winter reading plans are. I would love to hear from you, and please leave a cheeky thumbs up if you liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future, and I will see you all in my next video very soon. Bye guys.